Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 538 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined by the funky one and the Chupacabra, Stephen Kyle Bratke. He's got his Round Rock Chupacabra shirt on. It is a real thing. It is a real thing to some people. It is not real, though.
No, it's real.
Are we sure it's not real?
No, we're not. It's real.
All right. It may be real. It could be real. On one night a year for the Round Rock Express, they turn into the Chupacabras, and you can get...
Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We went to the game last summer, and I was able to snag this sweet shirt.
Yeah. Ben,
all right.
I
apologize for my tardiness. You know what? It's anytime I wake up really early, like way earlier than normal, I feel like I have forever, right? If I wake up at like my normal time, I'm like, okay, I know I have 30 minutes, so I got to be on the show. Boom, 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 boom. I get it done. I'm ready. If I wake up like I had like an hour and a half this morning, I feel like I had forever. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, it's 8:09. What am I doing?
Where were you at 8:09? Because you were still not back by 8:15.
Well, you know, I had.
Were you in the woods?
Coffee.
Oh wow!
I hadn't started making my coffee, so I had to get my coffee made.
Okay.
I actually took a shower this morning because I had extra time.
Wow.
You know. Yeah.
Well, it's okay. It's
so we're here.
You weren't super duper late. I think people really enjoyed our discussion, particularly. Yes. I'm sure your perspective, Ben, on youth wrestling, right? And one of the questions we got was, how did Ben get such a countercultural view on youth wrestling? Which I thought was kind of funny because Ben is kind of countercultural on everything else, so I don't know why his perspective. It would be more surprising if you had like a more traditional view of coaching youth wrestling. To me,
yeah, I mean, like, you know what the thing is? I think we've heard, Christian, how many people have we heard that elite level athletes that talk about, you know, how youth wrestling is wrong and how they could do it different, but most of those people don't actually do it, right? And we're actually doing it here, and so now. You know, now I've had 9 years of practice and 9 years of seeing what the process looks like. And obviously it's going really well. And so my beliefs have been further solidified by the fact that it is not only in theory anymore, it's in practice. We have great numbers at AWA. Our retention is fantastic. We're also having success coaching the kids. So, you know, it's kind of hard to attack any angle of our process at this point. And for me, you know, Max sometimes asks me how big I want to grow. And it's like, you know, part of it's like, well, I just, you know, it's stuff like this. I get to help people think about the way I think about youth wrestling and coaching kids and youth athletics. But part of it's like, Max, if I get to keep putting really good coaches in front of kids and changing kids' lives, I don't know, I'd make 500 of them, right? If I can make kids' lives better. I mean, I know, you know, there's probably a lot of people that are sitting in the chat right now listening to this podcast that can say, and maybe it's not even wrestling, Christian, maybe it's something else, but I was positively impacted by a youth coach in my life. He made my life better. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's pretty much everyone can say that, or they have that feeling. I have that feeling about multiple people. And so if I can keep helping good people get in front of kids, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Totally agree. Now, through that process, 9 years, which sounds kind of insane when you think about it, but I guess it has been that long. What has changed in your perspective from that time to now? What are some things you learned and adapted along the way? Because I'm sure you haven't been operating the same way for 9 years.
Well, about the way I think about it, not really all that much. You know, I think it was really me, Coach Messenbrink, Max. I think our initial guesses were pretty good. You know, like I said I admitted yesterday that, right, we had to start pushing kids to compete a little more because they were going all the way in, and then they were getting to high school and they're having 20 total matches in their life, and we realized, okay, we need to get this going. 7th, 8th grade, we need to get this going a little more. Our 7th and 8th graders, we now try to take them to some big dual tournaments, right? So we've kind of ramped it up a little bit, but, you know, our views on, especially let's say 5 through 9, maybe 10, 11, even in some instances, have stayed really the same. And, you know, what we thought about the way we were coaching, when we had to coach, I think it's turned out really well. And then, actually someone asked me to, actually 3 people asked me to elaborate on, I said no games the other day. That was Tuesday. We've talked about a lot of youth wrestling this week.
Yeah.
So initially, I've been teaching camps since 2003. I mean, I spent all my college summers traveling the country teaching camps, and it was lots of games, kind of that makes kids happy, obviously. But with our 5 through 9-year-olds group, we do play games. The practice is only an hour. We definitely play games. Above that, I try my best to never play games. I mean, I'm talking maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 times a year with the groups. And I take it as a reflection of my poor or great teaching skill that I can keep people mentally engaged in the practice. And as a coach, you should be able to pay attention when people are engaged or not engaged. Yeah. And I shouldn't have to play games to get them engaged in practice, because when they play games, they're engaged, and I shouldn't have to do that.
That makes sense. How long are your practices?
90 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So, I mean, we had David Taylor in, I want to say 2012. It might have been 2013. It was a very, very long time ago. Maybe before he realized to keep Kale's secrets a little closer. But he said something like, we never practice more than 90 minutes. But mostly it's between an hour and 15 minutes. And I thought that was really interesting. And so my high school coach, Coach Metzbrink, who works with us still, in my high school experience, all of our practices were 3 hours every single day. And then, he was brand new at that time. I mean, I want to say he was like 29 when I started. So, he was a really young coach. And then by the time Max graduated, it was different already, right? He had started, having an evolution of the way he coaches wrestling. But I think 90 minutes is a really good time. I would say 90 minutes to 2 hours, right? Depending on the season. Obviously, if you're going to ramp the intensity up, you're not going to be able to go 2 hours. But there are some days where I'm like, I would really like to keep going on this technique series that we're going on. I really don't want to cut it short, but we have 90 minutes. Yeah. So 90 minutes is probably 90 minutes to 2 hours is probably ideal. I think once you get to a higher level, like David Taylor was talking about, I think maybe you don't need to spend as much time. But maybe you do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. How long were your practices, Bratke? Ours were always insanely long.
About 2 hours.
Yeah. That's not bad. Ours were like 2.5 minimum. It was a lot.
Really?
Yes. Long practices.
So long.
Yeah. I mean, we would condition at the beginning of practice, then do a full wrestling practice, and then condition at the end.
Lots of conditioning.
Yeah, we were in good shape.
We tapered as the year went on. As we got to regional state, we were doing probably no longer than an hour and 15.
Yes, that is true. We did taper in high school. Coach Metzbrink had us tapering at, you said, regional sectional state.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What's your policy on parents in the room, etc.?
Well, since Corona, it's been fantastic. We just don't have any parents anywhere. They just drop them off at the door. It's made it more peaceful, and we have a lot of good parents. We don't have too many problem parents, which is great.
Sounds like you have some.
Oh, who doesn't, right?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we have no parent coaching, no parents on the mat type of thing. I even mentioned to Max that Josh's facility in Green Bay, there's a window and there's a front room, and the parents aren't even allowed in the wrestling room. That's kind of the same way with our Madison facility now. Max actually argues now that he's kind of got an open area where the parents can sit. It's not all that large, but he says he likes having the parents hearing what he's saying, which that's a good argument. Mm-hmm. Obviously as long as they're bought in and they're not contradicting Max on the way home, which, I think most of Max's guys are really bought in. So I don't think that's the case. I think most of the parents, it did take them a while, obviously, because a lot of our ideas are counter to what most wrestling people want to do. It did take them a while to buy in. And I know some of the parents, there's something just in a person's soul that wants to just grind it out and go so hard, especially older, tough parents.
Yeah.
And they want to say, you're not going hard enough. And, when we bought the school in Madison, I heard all these rumors we heard they don't go hard enough. And we heard that it's don't you see our success? And shouldn't you? And this for me, this is what I say. When I see someone else who's more successful than me, I'm saying, how are they doing that? And what of theirs can I steal? What can I copycat onto?
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, obviously, whatever level of intensity we're going, it's fairly irrelevant because our guys don't gas out. They have a lot of success. We're winning a whole bunch. We found a good recipe of intensity level, but we don't go rah, 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 grind it. And some parents kind of want that because I think that's the experience they had in wrestling 20 years ago or something.
Yeah, that's a tough mindset to break, but I guess success is going to be really, really helpful. It's got to be, but imagine, Ben, you're in your position. You and Max still probably get questioned by parents, right?
Oh,
imagine, take.
I know.
Let's say I wanted to start a wrestling club, right? And I wanted to implement your tactics.
Yeah, protocol.
How much more uphill is that going to be for someone with basically no credentials, right?
Yeah. No, it's good. I think about that many times, right? And it is going to be very challenging for them. And I think they're going to have some success first before they ever, get the leeway to kind of go. And we even had to kind of have that a little bit. But I am thankful we've had a lot of great parents, Rashka, Mako, O'Toole, a lot of great parents who have just said, listen, here's my kid, go. And they didn't ask me about anything. They didn't tell me about nothing. They just said, here's my kid, go. Yeah. And so when you have parents like that are, I want to say, kind of role model-ish to other parents, that's a really great situation to put us in. And other parents kind of see that and they want to emulate that because obviously that worked for those kids. And it's, it just creates a really good relationship when the parent says, hey kid, this is your thing. You're mature enough. You're going to do this. You deal with your coach. You set things up. You deal with your problems. It just builds a really mature individual.
Yeah. It's similar, like, a common like sports analogy or even wrestling is like, you want your best player to also be your hardest worker. 'Cause that's such a model and things that other guys can do training wise and have success is not always replicable. Similarly, maybe with parents, like when your best wrestlers have the model parents that are just deferential and just let you go, that's got to be a huge benefit when the contrary certainly exists in spades in wrestling.
Huge. Yeah, it's definitely huge. And the other thing I think, I guess I'll just kind of circle back to that question about the game thing. So I think just human nature. Kids want to know that somebody cares about them, right? If they're gonna listen to them, if they know the person doesn't care about them, they're generally not going to take much feedback. And then number two, they want to feel like they're a part of something, right? And so when you think about human emotions, that's something you have to take into account when you're building a wrestling team. So, I think like one tactic coaches could kind of do away with. It's actually called kind of a couple tactics that fit in the same category for me. But they try to show the kids it's my way or the highway. You're going to listen to me. You're going to do this. And then if the kid gets it wrong, they say, see, I told you so. Like, I think that is like relationship breakers, right? I don't want to, I want me and you, Christian, to have a good relationship. I want you to trust me that I have your best interest in mind. And if I'm doing those type of things, you're going to question that, right? Whether I do or not, you're really going to, as an athlete, you're going to question that. And so I think those are two tactics that coaches do lots of times that shoot themselves in the foot. And sometimes, obviously, it feels good to say those things. And obviously, it's easier to say those things. But I think that can be harmful to relationships sometimes.
Yeah. Are there athletes that how much of your practice and workouts constitute the athlete's weekly wrestling / fitness output?
You mean like how
much outside training are they doing? Let's say out of season.
So we don't really coach the high school kids in season.
Oh, really? You don't even have club?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm. I saw an interesting.
Is that common?
Well, what I saw when I was traveling the country very early on is not. I don't think it is common. What I saw really early on when I was traveling the country was club coaches and high school coaches were head to head. They didn't like each other because what would happen was, in the season, the club coaches wanted to see their kids also. And then they would say, oh, your high school coach doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm better at this move, which, a lot of times the club coaches, they had a little more success, right? Or they would say, don't go as hard. This is the worst. Don't go as hard at your high school practice. Save your energy for our practice, right? I mean, and that just created a dynamic that we never wanted to create here, right? It created a really bad dynamic between the coaches and the club coaches. So yeah, we kind of stayed away from that one. But as to your original question, so right now we do 3 days a week. With their membership, they can go to any of the other academies also. So if they come to my practice Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, and there's a Tuesday, Thursday in Green Bay or in Mequon, they can go over there, right? If they're Tuesday, Thursday in Heartland, and there's a Monday, Wednesday in Madison, they can go over there if they want. So I would say obviously most of the mat time kids spend on a weekly basis is with us. And then, we don't really do strength and conditioning. We've kind of made a few stabs at it. And it's a weird dynamic because I don't like putting them back to back because when you do, say, strength conditioning and wrestling, you get a not so great wrestling practice. If you do wrestling practice and strength conditioning, you get a not so great strength conditioning. So we've been trying to create the formula. But it seems to be that kids also kind of like to go do it on their own, maybe not on their own, with their own, wherever they're doing it. And that's also been going pretty well. So we don't know that we're going to mess with that totally.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fun talks.
Yeah.
Youth wrestling. I'm sure it'll come up a lot more organically as Caleb becomes more and more involved in it. It's been fun.
I mean, I love coaching youth wrestling. I love helping athletes reach their potential. I think, and this is kind of the way I've approached every problem in my life. And I always say, like, okay, number one, who's doing it better, and what are they doing, and how can I steal some of that? Right? I'm totally honest and open about that.
Yeah.
And then number two, I say, where do I think they're missing? Where do I think everyone's missing, and that we could maybe do something that other people aren't doing? And I think if you can ask those questions about any type of subject matter, I think that's going to lead you to coming up with a good answer, right? That can maybe change stuff for the positive.
Well, so far that's definitely been the case for you, for sure.
Yeah.
But what have you done, and what are you going to do to save the Wynnewood Zoo? Are you going to do anything about that? Because according to Kyle Bratke, it is dead. Can you explain?
I don't have a huge interest in big cats, but I did see this in the doc, and this is pretty depressing. It's that effing Carol Baskins.
I thought you were Tiger style. Come on, man. What the heck?
Kyle, tell us about it.
Yeah, so Jeff Lowe announced that that douchebag Jeff Lowe, they're gonna close it. He essentially is blaming PETA. He said he used the opportunity to take aim at animal rights charity PETA, claiming that the USDA had, quote, folded to their pressures despite giving the zoo 5 consecutive perfect inspections.
So how did they fold if they're just giving them perfect inspections?
Well, because PETA just wants them closed, and they're just like always hammering them. It says in the state of Oklahoma, exotic animal ownership is perfectly legal. Rest assured that all these animals will continue to have excellent care and consequently will no longer be subject to USDA inspections or PETA spies, Jeff Lowe said.
Spies. Espionage involved.
But it sounds like there's a season 2 of Tiger King coming.
There is?
Yes, and Lowe said that the new park would be used for private film set for television content.
Man, I'm out. I don't think this is going to be good. For one, Joe Exotic remains locked up. Carol Baskins won't be involved.
This is true.
Really? I think she probably loves the spotlight. I wouldn't be shocked if she's involved at all.
Apparently, she was very mad with how she was portrayed as a murderous, homicidal cat lady. Apparently, she didn't like that.
That was just Joe's idea.
That was just his perspective. I don't know. Listen, the entire country basically watched that and was like, yeah, she killed her husband.
Yes.
So I imagine she's not a big fan of the series.
They reopened the investigation into his disappearance and everything.
Well, she shouldn't be a fan of the facts, and maybe she shouldn't be a fan of the fact that she likely killed her husband.
I know, but that's not going to make her want to be involved with season 2. I can't imagine. I think they did totally mislead her about it.
Really?
I don't know. They were asking her all these questions about it. They were asking her like what she was doing that day, and they asked her about like all the rumors about it, and she talked about like how ridiculous it would be for tigers to eat it. I think whether she can say she was misled, if they're asking you questions like that and going so in depth about it,
you kind of know.
You got to know that they're gonna do that. Like
also, since she likely did kill her husband, it should be in the back of her mind at all times that the other shoe may drop at some point.
Piles, are you gonna get us kicked up air for accusing Carol Baskins of murder?
I think this is all alleged.
All alleged. There we go. Now we're good.
Yeah, as long as you say that, you're in the clear.
I mean, I thought Carol Baskins was pretty smart, and I thought she had a good lawyer. Why wouldn't she have gotten something where, she could nix a few parts if she wanted to? Like, hey, I'll have my involvement in this, but I get some executive decision-making power somewhere in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, most documentary filmmakers, whatever, are not going to give that, right?
Really?
No. I mean,
what if they really want Carol Baskins in there, though?
They probably were like, no, you won't be involved. They probably paid her. I imagine she got paid. Yeah.
But if you killed your husband, don't you think you'd want some veto power?
Let's edit out all the parts that make it look like I killed my husband.
Please.
Jeff Lowe also said Tiger King, it has also provided us with an unfathomable source of income.
All right, that's a lie.
Income that will guarantee the long-term care of our animals and allow us to be very selective going forward.
He can't fathom the money. Well, really, Jeff? It's incomprehensible how much money you're making.
Dude, I'm kind of going to go with Jeff Lowe. Well, I don't know what their contract looks like, Christian. I mean, you guys do contracts, so maybe you have a better idea. But if
Bratke
he got paid any type, if they got paid any type of royalties, who could have imagined that Tiger King would have done like 700 billion views?
That's true. If they got there's no way they got upside.
There's probably no way, huh?
There's no way.
But there were like talks about there being a movie in the works. And they're doing a season 2. And I'm sure there's been all kinds of other promotional things that have come from the documentary.
You can't recapture that magic. There's just no way. There's no way.
There's no way. There's no way they got upside, right? There's no way.
Do you think Netflix was like, oh my gosh, wait, we are about to take over the freaking world. We're about to drop this series. It's called Tiger King. Wait till everyone's going to. Do you think they had any idea? They're like, oh, this could be, this is pretty zany. It might be big. Or do you think they're like, this is the next Making a Murderer? Watch.
Probably. I mean, they gotta have some idea on that, don't they? I mean, maybe in the beginning they didn't when they started filming, but once you started putting that stuff together, it was kind of addictive to watch. It was like, I don't know. There was some kind of humanity that you wanted to see there.
I think they probably knew they had something special.
Yeah.
And then it just dropped at the perfect time with literally everyone stuck in their houses.
Yes. It was a perfect storm type of scenario. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Andrew Escada says, since Missouri's the Tigers, their most savage wrestler each year should get a Carol. Oh, Andrew, great job.
Brian Smith.
Fantastic.
Well, so Spade does his end of the season awards that are very much along this line.
Yeah, the Billy Baldwin Best Bearcat Award.
Which they actually started handing out.
They give out that award? They like make an actual plaque and give it to the...
Wow, I did not know that.
To whoever Spade chooses as the Billy Baldwin Best.
There was a Dad Strength Award that Bo Jordan won.
Wow.
We had a bunch. It was pretty funny. So
how many teams in Division I NCAA wrestling are Tigers?
In wrestling?
Yeah, in wrestling.
Princeton, Missouri.
Princeton.
Who
else? That's it.
That's probably it. Iowa.
Google this.
The Iowa Tigers. I think that's it. Clemson, RIP, doesn't have a program anymore. They are definitely Tigers.
LSU doesn't have a program anymore.
I'm saying it's 2 unless proven otherwise.
Okay.
What the heck's the Browns?
Looking it up.
What are the Browns?
Bear. They're a bear.
Oh yeah, Bears.
It's just 2. It's just Princeton and Missouri.
Just the 2. All right.
Yeah. We got LSU, Clemson, and Auburn.
You know what? I think it should be a share. I think the Carol Baskin Award should be shared. So it's between whoever does the best. It could have come down to Brock Mahler versus Matt Kolodzic last year. You know, who's the best?
Ooh, nice.
Who's the best Tiger? The Carol Baskins Award.
Maybe one school's the Carol Baskin Award, and then the other one's the Tiger King Award.
Yeah,
or
the actual tiger.
Yeah.
I'd like to Photoshop Brock Mahler's face on like Joe Exotic's body. That'd be funny. Maybe not for Brock Mahler, but we'd get a laugh. It's parody law.
We could have just fun at his expense.
Just some shenanigans.
Is there a law called parody law? There's not a law called that.
Yeah, absolutely. Parody laws are
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
What?
That's how you can get away with a lot of stuff.
That's how Weird Al can like write songs like Amish Paradise or whatever.
For real?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Come on, dude. You don't know about parody law?
No.
You should have claimed parody law when you did your Hello.
Well, they must have. I didn't own the rights to that.
I know you should have claimed parody law, and then you probably wouldn't have had to take that video down. Remember you did that song?
I'm trying to look this up. Yeah, and YouTube took it down like 74 times. F YouTube. Wow. Can you make a parody? In its most general sense, a fair use is any copying of copyrighted material done for a limited and transformative purposes, such as to comment upon, criticize, or parody a copyrighted work. Such uses can be done without permission of the copyright owner.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I learned something today. I did not know that.
So I guess you have to sue YouTube now for taking down.
Yeah. Hello should go back up. That's crap.
They did you dirty on that one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bratke, what's going on with ODU?
Yeah, so our man Jason Bryant, who's in the Facebook chat right now, and I'm sure we'll point out a lot more stuff than I'm going to.
He's gonna lose his mind right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to bring up bad memories for him because I know he's at his wit's end with Old Dominion, but I think it'd be good just to kind of like show some of the scummy things they did, and Tyler, I think, has a few of these graphics pulled up, and you can see these on Jason Bryant's Twitter or Facebook page. If we could do the sports criteria one first. They put together this table, and they analyzed each of their sports, and then assigned them a point value. And it really seems like a lot of these were just the criteria they set was to make wrestling be the choice. If you
come on,
if you look at like what I mean, but like look at all the ones that are in the poor category.
I looked at this chart. Okay, but I feel like for number, is it up on the screen yet? Because I'm looking at it in the doc.
Yeah,
it is. Okay, so for number one, value the sport, brings diversity, brings national attention. I feel like wrestling, you could make. I mean, you could make the argument that they've had Division I NCAA All-Americans, which would bring national attention. Right or no? Could you not make that argument?
Yes, but then they're going to say, well, it's to a very small population, which is what is in their thing.
So it's kind of indefinable. Okay, so the squad size, yes, that's shenanigans. Okay,
well, why is that bad? So here's my question about the squad. It says its effect on Title IX. I don't understand that. I thought Title IX. So I'm pretty ignorant, but I thought Title IX had more to do with like scholarship allocation or whatever.
Well, it's providing opportunities.
Just opportunities?
Yeah.
Well, darn.
I think it's both. So, yeah, that's annoying, obviously. So then the season-long home attendance. Man, how many sports do they have that has over 2,500 season attendance? Because the answer's got to be almost none.
Barely football, probably.
I mean, I looked it up and, like, only 10 teams averaged over 2,500 fans, like a dual meet. In college wrestling, like it's just not a super well attended sport across the country.
I was at college. I would say there's very few that get over 2,500. Like basketball, men's basketball specifically. Right. Women's never. I went to a handful of games and they did not average 2,500. There's no way. Football and baseball. No.
Maybe.
Soccer. I doubt it. Softball. I doubt it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't. Volleyball,
field
maybe?
Hockey, all the swimming, all those.
Track, swimming, heck no. Swimming got barely over 200 ever.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I went to all the sports, and there's not a lot at Mizzou that could be over 2,500 average.
Yeah, and you just keep going on the line. Expenses over $1.2 million. I mean, pretty much.
What's expenses of the program? Do you know?
No, I don't off the top of my head, but I mean, I would be willing to imagine that most of the bigger schools spend that much just on travel and all that stuff. Almost never competes or not a Conference USA sport.
That hurts.
That's
that's one that like Boise State claimed that because they were in the Mountain West and they were like, well, Mountain West doesn't sponsor wrestling, and that's a big sticking point with the conference. And then like we found out from a person associated with the Wyoming program that wasn't true at all. Like so people they just like to use this one as a scapegoat.
Oh, so Jason Bryant, Jason Bryant says ODU claims $1.2 million as expenses, which then makes that figure convenient.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I don't know. It's that, and then
I don't know. How would you evaluate but devil's advocate, how would you evaluate a program's health overall? How much it costs, how much it brings in, how well you do nationally, how many people come and watch. These are the things you look at when you evaluate, right?
Yeah. Now, sure, but if all the sports on campus are...
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're right, Bratke. Keep going.
Yeah, if all the sports on campus literally have the same amount of attendance, are bringing in the same amount of money, cost about the same to put on, but then you have the wrestling team, which has been successful and is having All-Americans. It's just a little surprising that they chose this one. But it seemed like they had their mind made up because we'll go to this. The next image that we have, Jason was able to FOIA a lot of emails.
FOIA equals Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, thank you. And so this is between the man who who did this survey, conducted a bunch of this research, and then Wood Selig is the athletic director for Old Dominion. And they're having this terrible conversation about this.
It's terrible conversation.
It's really weird. It's really bizarre conversation. So this Richard Sander guy went back to a former school he was at, and they're like, oh, they didn't like honor you at halftime or something. They didn't put a statue up for you or whatever. And they're talking about like put up a statue, and it will collect all the bird droppings and everything. And so Wood Selig says, put a hairnet on statue to catch it all. And then the Richard Sander guy goes, could collect and sell for fertilizer. And then Wood Selig goes, a revenue generator for wrestling. And he sent that on February 5th, 2020, and they dropped the program in April, early April.
So they're just making fun of wrestling?
They're just making fun of wrestling.
Dang. Wood Selig. I sat in this man's office and interviewed him one time.
You did?
Yeah.
What was your take on him? Like, just your feel?
Dude, he loved wrestling. He liked Coach Martin. He was like, so a lot of times when you go and you do these like a campus trip, it's like you're trying to get some cool stuff, like get some technique and shoot some practice, and they have kind of like their things they want you to do, right? Like they want to do a tour of the academic center. They want you to enter. They're like, you got to talk to our AD. He loves wrestling, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. It seemed like he knew the sport well enough for an athletic director. He, like, kind of appreciated Coach Martin's antics and how animated he was, and he thought it was really cool. He thought it was cool how much he cared, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, all right, this is good. An AD that seems to value wrestling. Coach Martin spoke highly of him, although I don't think he would say, hey, my AD's terrible to me. But at the same time, I don't think he'd have me interview him if he didn't think he was an advocate.
Yes,
so
correct.
I thought he was fine. Perfectly normal dude, but that was like a 20-minute thing.
Yeah, and Jason, has been trying to run down every lead he possibly can. And they literally blocked his email from emailing the president. And he's literally just trying to get answers and wants them to answer questions for him. And he wouldn't do a podcast with Jason or video interview. He answered like 10 questions that he got to screen like ahead of time and then responded in writing. And Jason's had a few follow-up questions to that, and they won't answer. And they're like blocking his email. And
he needs to Michael Moore him. He's got to go there. And just put the camera in the face. Yeah, just show up with a camera.
Gotcha journalism?
Just gotcha journalism till the restraining order comes, which would probably come within 24 hours. But until the restraining order comes, You can
You got 24 hours.
You got
get it done.
That's a tight window.
Yeah, and he's put in the chat. All his requests now go directly to the university lawyers.
That's what's up.
That's when you know you've got to somebody.
Yeah, you're on to something. Keep digging. No, go to I forget which city it's in. Norfolk, Newport News, one of the N ones. Go there. Put a camera in their face.
Really shady stuff from ODU. Again, that was all stuff Jason Bryant sent to us, and you can see it on his Twitter and Facebook, where there's much more where he's posted responses and other emails he's been able to collect. Hopefully he can keep digging this, and I don't know, maybe one day ODU will be back.
It is in Norfolk, Christian. I looked
Norfolk. I always think it's Norfolk, and
Why
then I second guess myself.
There's an L there. It's Norfolk.
Yeah. But
Norfolk.
Norfolk.
They call it Norfolk?
Norfolk. What? I don't know. That's how I say it.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll have the dictionary pronunciation. JB can help. So yeah, double dang, not cool at all. Come on, ODU.
Double dang.
Shady sons of guns. All right. Eligibility relief update. Stephen Kyle.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah, the D1 Council has recommended the board of directors who will vote tomorrow on it that literally all fall sports student athletes get an additional year of eligibility. Well, actually, both an additional year of eligibility and an additional year in which to compete it.
So will they increase the scholarships? Because that feels like they should.
Well, yeah. So what they're going to do is, it says the financial aid of fall sport senior student athletes who take advantage of the additional year of eligibility and extended clock will not count against team limits in 2021-2022.
Wow. Damn, someone should have saw that coming and just boosted all those scholarships up.
Wow. So,
but it kind of ticks me off though.
Because last year,
right? Because last year, why don't you do that for the winter athletes that literally lost their championships? And now you're saying, hey, we could theoretically get through this whole college football season, and they might still just get an extra year anyways.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's insane.
Hey, you know what? I thought this made effect because I saw someone else post about it, a guy who I did not know. But it also said fall sports athletes could play any other sport they want and not have eligibility work against them. What about Nash Hutmacher putting on the big red singlet?
Whoa.
Well, and
can he make heavy?
Why wouldn't you?
I thought he's super big.
He's over 285. Dog, someone who's 300 pounds, they can just do a little run, sweat a little bit.
He wrestled it his senior year.
Okay.
The other person that was tweeting about this was Michael Parsons, the Penn State.
I didn't know who that was.
He's going to be a first-round draft pick, and he opted out of the football season.
Was he a wrestler too?
Yeah, he wrestled like all the way up through until high school, and was pretty talented. Was placing in like the PA state tournament and stuff. But I mean, he's a freak. He's a total freak athlete.
He would hang out. Get his face rubbed in the mat with Kirkfoot.
I don't know. He is pretty big. Hutmacher's listed at 300 pounds on the Nebraska bio.
He can make it.
He's got it. Dude, that'd be awesome. Well, wait, hold on. Here's how this could help solve the problem for last year with the guys losing years. Well, it doesn't help the seniors. Seniors, you're officially screwed. But this says if they do this for winter sports and they have wrestling, not only do you get to compete in it, but you get an additional year on top of it. So Spencer is supposed to be a senior this year, so he could do this year, and if you get a year on top of it, then he would have 2 more years, right? Which would be...
So he'd have 5 years of college eligibility?
Yeah. He could be like...
No, that can't be.
Well, that's what this is saying. How would that be any different?
No, there's no way that's... No, come on, dog. There's no way. They just misspelled something or bad punctuation.
I'll read it to you. The Division I Council officially recommended...
they messed up.
The Board of Directors gave all fall students both an additional year of eligibility and an additional year in which to compete it.
So I think they're saying they're getting an extra year. Yeah, so like if they
and
right.
Year.
So
they messed it up somehow.
I'm trying to think like how to explain this. So
explain to me like I was 7.
Yeah. So
they just didn't write it very well. That's simple.
So they get an extra year of eligibility, but they have another year to do it in.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
I guess. So, all right, hypothetically, I'm Trevor Lawrence. What grade am I in?
He's going to be a junior this year.
Okay. So, I'm Trevor.
Trevor Lawrence is going to the NFL.
I know.
No,
I'm not. I just love college. I'm Matt Leinart. Okay.
What's wrong with you?
I'm going to play this year, and then I'm going to play.
Then, so you could play this year, all right, your junior year.
Yep.
Then you could just, take the next year off.
Uh-huh.
And that would have been your senior year.
Oh.
But now you have this extra year.
Gap year.
Yeah,
gap year. So I'm Trevor. I'm going to play this year, win it all, gap year in Europe. Backpack, come back.
You just got engaged, so you can get married. You can do the whole honeymoon thing.
Perfect. Honeymoon.
And then you can play.
A gap year honeymoon.
Just
a straight year of honeymooning. Okay.
Hey, guys, can I put something in the doc that you guys will play on the show for us right now?
Sure.
It's a definite
I just
maybe.
put a link in. It's from Verizon on Verizon's Twitter.
Oh, is this the Gilman thing?
Yeah.
What
Did you see it?
I just want to know what the Verizon games are.
So I don't know if I saw what Ben's putting in here, but yeah, I saw this. It's terrible. He's competing against their 5G phone in a battle of strength. It's terrible.
Dog, he's got 756,000 views though.
No, I hope he's getting paid with it, but I'm just saying the commercial itself is actually not good. But I hope he's riding all the way to the bank.
Kyle, are you trying to fire Verizon's marketing team?
Yeah, I am. This is good job using Thomas Gilman, but you didn't even let him shine. You didn't even let him talk smack. You didn't even let him fire off some awesome one-liners.
Yeah.
Or peacock around or anything.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead and play it, Tyler. He's doing some competition against a phone.
And welcome to the network games hosted
by
Samsung and Verizon.
Hope the competition isn't having a large 5G
New Jersey
network.
as world silver medalist Thomas Gilman is about to compete against Verizon's 5G ultra-wideband network in a battle of strength. There he is, Thomas. And look at the competition. The Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. That's got its game face on. The event is called Data Deadlifts. Gilman will attempt to complete 10 deadlifts before Verizon 5G Ultra Wideband downloads 100 megabytes of raw data. Here we go. Thomas preparing now. Now, this would be a personal best for him if he can pull this off. The crowd knows it too.
Man.
You can see
huge crowd
on edge. And here we go. 1. And that's 2. On to 3, and it's over before it's even really started, folks. Unbelievable. With the Verizon 5G Ultra Wideband has downloaded 100 megabytes of data just like that. Something's going on. Words are being exchanged. Trying to lip read.
You know Thomas Gilman's gonna smash that effing phone. Let him do it.
Yeah, he should have done it.
Here today, folks.
Let him smash it.
That download is incredible. Let's watch that.
Oh man.
There you go.
Kyle, I am 100% with you. I am firing Verizon's. I could make a better damn commercial than that. You see my commercial with Chase Hooper last night? It was way better than that.
That was much better. Your stuff's been hilarious with him.
I'm gonna send that to you guys too. You guys we gotta play that.
We'll play it.
Listen, that was it. Verizon. Get your SHIT together.
Oh, he spelled it, so it's fine.
Why are you spelling it now? You've been saying it.
You've been
saying it for 9 months on this show now.
Christian, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, but kids can't spell.
Yeah. My kids definitely can.
Hey, so I just put a
Dave put this very well in the Facebook chat. So your 5-year eligibility clock turns a 6-year clock.
So yeah, instead of 5 to do 4, you have 6 to do 4.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. They should have wrote that. They try so hard to sound all legalese instead of putting it in common folks speak so we understand.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
So guy, I was doing this vlog and I missed a putt in disc golf and I go, damn it. And then my kids are there and I go, or darn it. And my 4-year-old goes, damn it or darn it. I started dying.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You guys.
Here's Ben's video with Chase.
Debut. The sitcom. We're here at Chase's first practice, man. I sure hope he does well. You know, I'm a little bit nervous for him because he's never done wrestling before, only jiu-jitsu and MMA, and obviously wrestling's a little bit different, so hopefully he picks it up pretty quick and gets the hang of it.
Yeah, I always thought wrestling was like the easier version of jiu-jitsu, so hopefully I'll kill it today. It's kind of weird that we have to wear shoes or whatever. I think you're not supposed to do that on the mats, but I guess they just don't care with this sport. Stuff's pretty easy, to be honest. It's like jiu-jitsu, but they don't even know how to defend a choke.
Watch Chase wrestling practice so he can try to wrestle because it's one of the things he hasn't done his whole life. I look over sometimes and this dude's pulling guard. Like, what am I even supposed to do with that? The guy needs to get a takedown and he's rolling around on his back.
So I think it went really well. I think I really impressed Ben a lot. He was able to see that I can just pick up stuff. Like, I'm a world-class athlete. I just do something. I was able to use my jiu-jitsu to wrestle him. I was out wrestling these guys. They have no submission defense at all. I choked them out so many times. These dudes are 27 or something, super athletes, and I'm just chewing them up. It was a good day. I think I made him real proud.
That's funny.
I like when he called them 27-year-old super athletes.
I did too. Yeah.
And it's clearly like a 16-year-old kid. Hey, your son, your other son, your maybe we'll call him your stepson. He quit his match or something, or what did he do?
Christian,
you're yelling
a
at
savage.
him.
You're a savage.
No, I didn't watch. I just watched.
You didn't watch?
No, I didn't watch any of it. Remember?
Oh, I thought you watched it.
No, I didn't watch. What happened?
Okay.
With Sean O'Malley.
Well, he got. There's this. You know what? There's this new thing that's happened to a handful of guys, but and it's really funny that it didn't become very commonplace in MMA till now. But he gets when you get kicked in the low shin calf area, it's like some nerve and it shuts your foot off. It's really weird. So then they're stumbling around like they're
this is like an on-off switch for the foot.
It legit. So there's have been 4 fights that's happened in. It happened to Michael Chandler. It happened in this fight. It happened to Henry Cejudo in the DJ fight, and he was able to recover still. Yeah, but so it happened to him, and he kind of laid down a little bit, and then took a few punches, then was done, and then he got stretchered out. It was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, tough look for your family. How good is Chase Hooper? I don't know anything about it. Was he really good at jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know him until he started tweeting me, obviously. But yeah, he's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. He's super. I think he's 20 only or 21,
yeah,
which
that's how old he looks.
Bring up in one of the other videos. Well, not in this video, but it's funny because I had probably 5 or 6 college guys in the room, that day, which were probably all older than he was. So it's kind of funny that he kind of was young compared to some people he was going with.
He's about to turn 21 in September, it looks like.
How old?
He's 20 right now. Well, cool. All right. Well, glad that was a good video. So you were hired by Verizon. Congratulations.
Dude, see, Verizon, listen, I don't know what you're paying those jabronis at that marketing company, but I'll make a better commercial. Listen, I would have had Thomas Gilman smash that phone, and it would have been way better.
Well, it's
so now we got 5G causing corona.
Yeah.
And causing people to lose their minds. Fires. Remember it started fires over in England or something? And now it's out deadlifting Thomas Gilman. When does it stop?
When does it stop, 5G? Also, why did they have a British golf commentator for powerlifting? Why would I can honestly say I've never watched a powerlifting competition or heard it commentated, but they're going for tennis or golf. I didn't understand. But the main thing is...
You can't assume they're British.
Okay. All right, Ben. Whatever. It had a quasi-British accent.
Quasi.
Also, going back to the Michael Parsons thing, if Penn State's just going to redshirt everyone...
Yeah, throw them out there.
If they're worried about not having... not being able to get through a season and wasting these guys' eligibility, Michael Parsons, just put him out there.
Yeah.
6'3", 245.
Did that with Jan Johnson. He took down Marsden one time.
He did.
People forget that.
Wait, so are you guys not excited about Nash Hutmacher? Because I would be excited to see him wrestle.
Of course.
Yeah,
Dude, he's legit.
absolutely.
He would be a ranked guy, probably a top 10 guy. If
You think?
Eventually. Not right away.
Eventually.
He wouldn't be ranked, but he would have to beat somebody. But
Didn't he break like Randy Lewis's pin record?
Yes, I think so.
dang. Congratulations to Nash. He's good. Okie dokes. I'll never say that again. I don't know why I did. Question from friends time. Question from friends time.
Yeah.
Do you have any more commercials, Ben?
Well, I do have. I had. That's my third video, the Chase Hooper parody. That's the third one. I have two more coming out. I'll probably put one out today, and then maybe another one tomorrow. We'll see.
Okay, cool. So stay tuned on the more Chase Hooper footage. Questions from friends. Question from Nick Croninger. He's a pretty frequent question asker.
Yeah.
How can wrestlers translate the qualities that have made them successful in a physical sport to non-physical avenues? Parentheses, office jobs. Well, I say lessons in wrestling will make you successful in life, but what are those lessons? What is digging deep in a 9-to-5, Ben Askren?
Oh man. Well, I could go on for. We have 38 minutes left. I think I could talk 38 minutes about this question on a monologue. You guys would get bored though. Listen to me. Well, there's the biggest thing I think, and this is listen. You know, I talk about I'm going to force my daughter to compete at least a couple times. Not a lot, but I told her you're going to compete a few times, and because I want her to have the experience of going out there with no one else to protect her and shaking another person's hand and having to figure out how to beat them. Like that right there, that's an important quality that not a lot of people get to experience because there's so much responsibility in it, right? And that was what I loved about it, is that it's you or it's them. There's not really any excuses. You can't rely on your team. You can't rely on your coaches. You got to figure it out yourself. I freaking love that. And I think that can translate into just about anything in life. So that would be, you want me to keep going, or is that a good enough?
Well, we can, yeah, I agree with that. I think
What else do you think?
Well, there's a lot of things, I think. One, there's like the kind of low-hanging fruit of, wrestling instills a pretty unique work ethic and an idea of like how to live a disciplined life because it extends beyond just the 2.5 hour to 3 hour practice, however long it is. It extends beyond that because of the dietary restrictions and just the overall way you have to live. So you're going to, I think it really helps you with work ethic. But one thing I think about is as you think about like professionally, like think about when you're an early wrestler, the problems you're trying to solve are really simple. Just like when you first start any job, probably if you're starting as the low man on the totem pole or any sort of position, the problems are simple, right? Everything is being dictated to you. When you shoot, you're getting pancake. Keep your elbows in. Look away and pinch from the half, right? The problems are sort of simple to solve. And someone is not solving them for you, but telling you exactly how to solve them. But as you get like a lot more advanced in the sport of wrestling and as you grow your career and are given more responsibility, the problems are way more complex, way more nuanced, and there's not going to be someone that's going to give you the answer. So you're going to have to be very much able to figure stuff out on your own. And I think that's something that wrestling really gives you because everyone there's like some templates of styles, but everyone kind of has a little different thing that they do, right? And that's something you have to be able to come up with wrestling as well. So I think being able to own solutions and figure things out for yourself are really important as well. But now you can keep going, Ben.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge one. I think dealing with adversity, I think is a really big one. Actually, not to give myself a shameless plug, but you can go to benaskren.com. I just did a course on dealing with failure and adversity. I think it's fantastic. And obviously wrestling was the one that taught me most of those lessons. But that's something, right? And again, because in wrestling, it's a one-on-one thing. You can't, the failure adversity comes directly to you. You can't say, no, it wasn't me, it was them, right? Which maybe I guess you could do that in the workplace also, but you're probably going to be a much more effective worker if you say, yes, that was my fault. or this is my problem. How kind of like you said, right? The problem solving aspect. How do I deal with this problem? And you're used to dealing with that failure in adversity, and you can kind of get through it, right? And I think I always go back to with failure and adversity. I always go back to this. It's like, would you? And it's not just wrestling. I think is probably the best because it is a one-on-one and it's so direct. The feedback is so direct. But would you rather learn how to deal with failure and adversity as a kid when there's nothing, right? There's really nothing on the line except a win or a loss. Okay. Or would you want to skip and that's kind of where, I don't want to get into societal norms right now, but yes, parents do kind of nerf the world for their kids a little too much, in my opinion, right? And should their kids, they should get to enjoy their childhood. But would you rather learn those problems as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, right? How to deal with adversity, how to deal with failure, and how to bounce back from that, how to have persistence. Or do you want to learn it when you're 32 and you have 2 kids and you got to make your mortgage and you got fired and now you got to effing figure it out? Like, when do you want to learn to be good at dealing with adversity? Because I would argue it's when you're 13 and you're figuring out how to be a good wrestler, as opposed to when you're in your mid-30s and, right, you lose your job and you got to make your mortgage and you got 2 kids and everyone's relying on you. It's a much, much better situation to learn it when you're young.
Yeah. I think one thing coaching really helped me, coaching and teaching, because I was doing both at the same time for a while. It's like learning how to work with people, right? Not just coaching and leading, but like just learning that how everyone else responds, right? And that everyone is so different in what will motivate them. And like you think of the stereotypical barking like football coach that just basically yells at everyone. It's like that's not what every football coach is like, just like that's not what every wrestling coach is like, but that is not a way to optimize each person on the team or each person in the classroom, right? And everyone's going to be motivated a very different way. And I don't know if I ever really saw that or put that I don't know if I ever even thought about that until wrestling.
I would actually say that that's as a coach, Christian, but I would actually say wrestling people are bad at that as a whole, right? If we want to think wrestling helps us with some things, but one of the things that hurts is, and I think wrestling draws people who are individuals, right? Who maybe don't work great with the team. And that was me for sure, without a doubt, right? I didn't work well with other people in the beginning. I wanted to be very self-reliant. But yes, as you get older, you're likely going to have to work with the team, right? Or work with other people in some way, shape, or form. And wrestlers do struggle with that more than anything. And I think, right, that's especially what we talk about. I think like when I think about, youth coaches and high school coaches struggling with retention, one of the things I think about is, well, maybe these guys were, when they were kids and now when they're adults, they were individuals and they didn't really work well with others. And that's why they were drawn to wrestling. And that's why they were good at wrestling. But now as a coach, they need to figure out how to work well with others. And that's what's going to make them more effective. So I actually think that's one thing wrestling and wrestling people really struggle with is that kind of working with groups type of thing.
Yeah, and that's true. I think especially if you've only been a competitor, right? I think it's more true. And if you've had success as a competitor, then you're probably going to fall into traps of this is the way because it was my way, right? I think that was an advantage of me being really terrible is I had no idea. So I had to only go to people that would know what they were doing and try to figure it out. I don't know. This is definitely something that we could discuss for a while, but there's a lot in there, Nick.
Yeah, I think we nailed a bunch of the really big things.
Yeah, we definitely nailed it. I know we nailed it. Just could we have nailed it for longer? Possibly.
Yeah.
Will we see Metcalf before the end of the dead period? Asks Notorious ZAC. I'm getting blown up about the Metcalf. I picked up Caleb from practice. He's like, "Are you doing a film on Brent Metcalf?" I was like, "Yes. Why are you asking me this?" But apparently, so we shot like reenactments and stuff.
Yeah.
One of the kids in his club was used for like the reenactments. So, they're getting there. They're getting there.
You're getting there.
But I thought he was about to roast. I thought he was about to roast me for like not getting it out yet or whatever. I was like, "Oh, great! Now my own son."
He knows what's on the line. He knows your ass is in the jackpot if you don't have it done before the end of the dead period.
Yeah.
ASS.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry. ASS.
Since Ben
It can't spell. It's fantastic.
Since now Ben is spelling swear words. Well, I'm sure your oldest daughter, can probably spell.
Not fast. I mean, she can spell slowly, but if I crack them out real quick, then she misses it. Amy yells at me quite a bit for swearing.
Well, don't do it.
It's
It's not hard. You can do it.
Listen, I want my kids to, listen, they should know. Here's what I tell my wife. I said, this is a great lesson for them early on because they have to learn time and place, right? Listen, if they throw, a smaller swear word in around here and there around the house, it's fine, right? But, they can't do it in school. So you have to understand everything has a time and place. They need to understand that. She's like, they're 7, they don't get it. And I'm like, well, the sooner they figure it out, the better they're going to be.
Yeah, they don't get the nuance. They said Dad did it. It's cool. That's the way it works.
They got to figure it out. The world is nuanced. They got to figure that out.
All right. Well, hopefully you're there to teach them that part and not just swear in front of them. But that's what Amy's for. So thank goodness for Amy. She'll keep these kids on the straight and narrow as best they can. Yes, someone wants us to mention that NATO is going to Duke. He is. I thought we did. I know we definitely meant to if we didn't. I don't
think we mentioned it.
Sorry. Yes, Nathan Tomasello headed to Duke as an assistant coach.
He was on the Bader show last night.
There you go. Does this mean his competing days are done? This is a good question. I kind of wonder if they are.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously that Duke, UNC, NC State are all really close together. I know they do kind of partner up for some of the RTC type of stuff, and so maybe, maybe he's thinking he can train down there.
Yeah, that's possible.
I don't think he plans on hanging it up.
Nice. Okay, good. More NATO. You got to at least go through 21, right? Give the Olympics a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. Johnny Roastbeef has quite the question here. I don't know if they're going to be able to fit it on the screen. It's a very tall inquiry, but it's pretty fun.
Johnny Roastbeef?
Johnny Roastbeef. So you walk into your local soda pop saloon, and these fellers are at the bar. Which one are you most worried about stealing your lady friend, and why? So we've got Chamizo on some sort of a pier with sunglasses. You've got Bajrang stunting in front of some building. You have Taha Akul with a parrot. And then you've got Kurban Aliyev and just into like a crushed velvet warm-up suit. So here, I think we're just about to see the pictures of these guys. Ben, who should we be most worried about?
I think Chamizo for sure.
I think it's
maybe
Chamizo.
Bajrang. I mean, listen, I'm worried that Kurban Aliyev is some evil villain trying to take over the world. Right? He looks kind of scary in that one. Ta Akul, I'm laughing at him because he looks like a pirate or something with his parrot.
Yeah. Chamizo, I feel like is the most game spittingest of the four, if I had to guess.
Bajrang looks pretty fancy in that picture, though.
He's fancy. He's a sophisticate. Yeah. I don't think Bajrang. I don't see as a guy is going in to spit game your girl at the bar. Chamizo, I don't know.
So Kurban Aliyev
he's
just going to take her.
He's just going to, she's going to be like, this is my girlfriend now.
Yeah.
And she would just go. It'd be like that.
Our man Sam Herring wants to listen to the Nathan Tomasello interview because his NATO said he was done after the Olympics.
Boom. Thank you, Sam. Sam says you're ducking him on a debate, but I think you're actually right, Ben. I don't think you should debate Sam.
Children. No, I don't
think Sam has maturity.
Yeah,
he's more mature than me.
Yeah, same here. No kidding.
Oh man. When he's an adult, I'll debate him. Tell him to grow up.
Grow up, Sam.
Get older, Sam.
Okay. I didn't understand this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways because I'm assuming that will Ben Askren be attending any wrestling events in September in Indiana while potentially finding some long-lost relatives? I don't understand this. Do you?
Okay. So there's the Indiana Hoosier Open, or what's it called? It's a Super 32 qualifier.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some of my kids are going. We actually have an AWA coaches meeting this weekend, so we're going to talk about going to that because obviously we've had no competitions in the last 6 months. So we're going to think we're going to there are a few Askrens in Indiana, So my grandfather on my dad's side, who was an Askren, obviously, he was one of those Catholic families where they had like a whole bunch of kids, and then he got kicked out of the house because they couldn't feed them all.
Oh wow!
And then and then he lied on his papers and joined the Navy at like 14 or 15.
Okay, wow,
Crazy.
Holy cow,
Yeah.
that is crazy.
So he does not know his relatives at all because he got kicked out of the house at like 10 or 11.
Dang. Okay.
Yes. So
Well, remember he's asking because there was the one picture of that guy that looked like you.
That was in Michigan, though.
Maybe he was from Indiana.
Yeah, maybe the guy was from Indiana.
Oh, but there are some Askrens in Indiana. That's the only other place I've ever heard of them. Being. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never met another Piles.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that uncommon.
Really? Do you know other Piles?
No, let me look it on Facebook.
I know other Pile.
There's definitely tons out there. I've just never encountered one.
Mike Pyle. He was a fighter.
Okay. Well, Pile. Remember?
That's your name.
Pyle, yeah.
There's an S at the end. All right, last question, and then we'll get the heck out of here.
I got Dean Piles, Jimmy Piles, Ryan Piles, many Piles.
Ryan's my brother, but
okay. Well, we got Jimmy. Jimmy's he's a good looking dude from Kelso, Washington. You got another Jimmy Piles from Columbia, Kentucky. You got lots of Jimmy Piles on here. Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah.
So many Jimmy Piles.
Yeah. Never met him. One day. All right, last question.
Whoa,
Ben.
Christian. Piles Construction in Jamestown, Kentucky.
I was hoping for something.
That's
bigger.
your family business.
That's my family business.
You got a side hustle, man?
I got a side hustle. I'm big in the construction
looking Piles Construction up. They're a business owner there in Georgia. Towns, Georgia. AW Piles Construction. I'm going to their website now.
Why not? I didn't say they didn't exist. I just I've never met them. I'm sure they're real. Okay. Can we hear some Askren Brothers stories from youth wrestling days at Ben Askren? Do y'all have any funny stories? I'm sure there's something interesting.
Well, you know what? The one that I still laugh about to this day, and this is Max and I were really young. We were getting construction in our new house. That means I was like 7, and he was probably like 5, maybe 6 and 4, even somewhere in there. And the bulldozer, like it has the metal track on it. And I convinced Max that it was a chocolate bar. And he took a big bite of it, and he went crying to Mom. Got him so good.
Oh my gosh, to be your little brother, that'd be rough.
Oh wow, Gomer and Goober Pile.
Yeah, I know those guys. That's an old one.
How funny is it that the Andy Griffith Show is like Sam Herring's favorite show?
That is so in his wheelhouse. I am not surprised at all. That's he's wrestling's Opie with great wrestling skills. Okay, so you fed him something nasty. Let's go. Oh wait, we have one final thing, a call out of sorts.
Who's calling who out?
Well, we'll see. Let's go.
Are you bringing a
I'm
special
pretty
guest?
optimistic about the Russians have a vaccine, and I think it's going to be great. I mean, the Russians developed the Russian 2-on-1 tie, and if they can perfect that, then I don't think a vaccine is really a big issue.
They say the Russian 2-on-1 tie is, allegedly not as effective as it used to be, and only gets a couple scores at each World Championship.
That's stupid, Bader. I don't know who said that, but they don't know anything about wrestling.
I think it was Ben Askren. Him and a couple of his wrestlers went through.
Yeah, that guy, man. I know he's a good wrestler. He's done some things, but I have a problem with him. I mean, I've reached out to him. They said on their FRL program that if you want to wrestle in one of these Flow events, you just text Ben or Twitter him, and he hasn't responded to any of my Twitter messages.
What did you just say I want to wrestle, or did you give present a case or an opponent or?
I gave him an array of opponents. I mean, I've always told you, baby, I'll wrestle anybody anywhere at any time.
Yeah, I've heard that, but
I'll go Greco, I'll go freestyle, I'll go Sambo, which is where I focus most of my training, anyways. I told Ben, I said that I wanted to wrestle David Taylor. I felt like, honestly, I think he's a great wrestler. But in that match, he was wrestling Miles Martin in the last one. I felt like he could have been a little more offensive, and I thought he was stalling. And they refused to call stalling on him because he's a world champion.
Yeah, well, they don't actually call stalling in freestyle. They call it passivity, or if it's really blatant, they can give you a caution. But they don't do the fist.
Tomato, potato, baiter. I mean, stalling is stalling.
That was really good. Tomato, potato. I need to start using that one. That's great. That's really funny.
David Taylor's stalling.
Yeah, they refuse to call it because he's a world champion. That was very funny. So yeah, final call out for Ben. He wants to be on one of these cards. He wants DT. We'll see what we can do.
Let's put him on.
We'll do it. Okay. Hey, Ben. Thanks for everything. Got anything else before we go?
I only got one more week, and then I get a new hip after that, so I'm going to be missing. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be missing.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, that's not the music for that.
That was not the music. He had to stop it real quick. We're getting in music. That
was Beta Show music.
Dude, yeah. What are we gonna do? That's gonna be tough. Actually, I'm going on vacation. So we could be a weird couple weeks here, but it's okay.
Bratke's gonna be by himself, sitting right there.
It's gonna be Bratke looking up cryptids, talking about chupacabras for hours.
Show's gonna get really weird.
Yeah, it's gonna get strange, but we know you're here for it because you're still here. We can't be more thankful for you for continuing to listen. Appreciate it so much. We'll be back next Tuesday. Please have a good weekend. Thank you so much. See you soon. Goodbye.